Well, I'm here with Paul Collard, Form's first expert in residence at the Good Shed. Now, your belief is that creativity is going to be a skill of the future, an essential skill of the future, and we need to teach our kids that. Can you explain why?
Firstly, we need to agree what we mean by creativity. We've come up with a particular definition of creativity, which we call the creative habits of mind. And they are imagination, which most people associate with creativity, but also discipline, resilience, collaboration, and curiosity. Now, people are quite surprised when we go through those, but our argument is if you're imaginative, so somebody who has lots of ideas, but you give up really easily, you have no resilience, which means your ideas never happen. That's not being creative. Being creative is the ability to have an idea and make it happen. Creativity nearly always starts with a great question. Why do we do things that way? Why don't we do things another way? How did you come to that conclusion, and so forth? So curiosity is key. But also discipline, and by that we really mean that creativity always takes place within a specific context or domain, and therefore if you want to be a creative architect, you have to find out why buildings stand up, because otherwise your buildings will fall down, and nobody wants architects whose buildings fall down. And therefore almost any area in which you can be creative, and it could be as a painter or it could be as a scientist, requires you to develop a lot of knowledge and technique. And in the modern world, collaboration is really key to the creative process. So if you accept that's the definition of creativity, then you go, well, that's a fundamental set of skills which underpins being able to do almost anything.
And you talked a bit about the sorts of skills that will be needed in the future. Creativity and those related areas is a key thing.
Absolutely. And all the research of businesses and employers and other people like that come down to these being the central skills. Most employers, when surveyed, don't have a problem finding literate people or numerate people, but they go, we do want creative, problem-solving, collaborative, cooperative people with a strong work ethic. And by work ethic, they mean discipline and resilience. And by cooperation, they mean collaboration, and so on and so forth. So these are the skills that employers are complaining they find it hard.
And will become increasingly important.
Increasingly important, because there's almost no area of work now where these skills aren't fundamental.
And you've talked a lot about the importance of having creativity injected into education, the curriculum and so on. What about us adults? Is it too late for us to learn these skills?
Well, people often say, oh, I'm not very creative. And you go, all right, but score yourself across these. And then they go, oh, is discipline and resilience to creativity? You go, it's fundamental. I mean, to give you an example, within discipline is what we call crafting and improving, which means taking an idea and making it better. Nearly all the great ideas started life as a really bad idea, but somebody went, oh, but if I took that and made it like that. Now, that's not having the first idea, it's how to take an idea and make it really successful. So you go through these definitions and people go, oh yeah, no, I'm like that. Oh no, I'm not like that. And then they give themselves a score in each one of those areas and say they scored themselves low on imagination but high on discipline and resilience. You go, oh yeah, and when you were doing this, what you were thinking about? And they go, oh, I was thinking about my work. And you go, oh, what do you do out of work? And then they come up with these stories about the stuff they do. And you find that they're really imaginative out of work. And you go, why did you give yourself a low score? And it says, oh, well, I don't use that at work. I'm not asked to use that at work really very much. And you go, are you sure you're not asked, or are you just not using it? And therefore, on the whole, we find most people have these skills, or are working on these skills, or used to have these skills and have lost them a bit, but they're kind of present in their lives somewhere. And we go, it's a matter of bringing these back. But the killer is people going, oh, I'm not like that. I'm not very collaborative. Well, just make an effort. I'm not very curious. Oh, I bet you are. Why did you come to the seminar?
So it's maybe more about educating people about the skills they already have.
Exactly.
How to adapt or apply.
And exploring why they don't use those skills in particular places. And that's the question, not do you not have it, it's why aren't you using it?